Good morning, students. Today we will see about classification of diabetes. So, classification of diabetes according to the American Diabetic Association, it has been classified in the four types. That is type 1 diabetes or diabetes insipidus, type 2 diabetes or diabetes mellitus. Number 3 is gestational diabetes, and number 4 is secondary diabetes. Or these are the basic four classification has been given, and that can be because of hormonal problem, secondary can be because of hormonal problems, pancreatic disorder, or side effect of certain drugs. Now each one we will see in detail. More will focus on diabetes mellitus. So type 1 diabetes is also called as the juvenile diabetes. It is happening in the 5 to 10% of population among all kind of diabetes, and it is basically one kind of autoimmune disorders where the destruction of these beta cells of the pancreas is done by the our body itself because of autoimmune reaction. Individual has no insulin or not able to produce the insulin because of the damage of these beta cells, and such patients are absolutely dependent on external administration of insulin for survival, and that is mostly seen in the childhood onwards, and that has to take them up to the long life for survival of this. That is called as juvenile diabetes. And what are the signs and symptoms of that? There will be obviously polyuria, polydyspia, polyphagia, weight loss, fatigue, frequency of infection, rapid onset and insulin dependent of, and mostly it is seen in the below 15 years of age. Type 2 diabetes, which is the most common type and comprise of 90 to 95% of all kind of diabetes cases, and most of these type 2 diabetes are overweight and diagnosed in adulthood only or early 40s or beyond 40s. Approximately half of the patients are unaware of the disease because whenever they are not noticing about the signs and symptoms or does not go for any kind of routine medical checkup, so it can be ruled out. Now how the physiology is behind, how pathophysiology is working in type 2, which is characterized by basically three disorders. Number 1 will be peripheral resistance to the insulin increase, especially in the muscles. Number 2, there will be increase in the production of the glucose by the liver itself, which is not converting the glucose into the glycogen, or it is releasing the more amount of glucose in the free blood stream. And number 3 will be insulin secretory defect of the beta cell, either the secretions is not happening because of the in the beta cells of Langerhans of that. All of these three combined together will have a problem in type 2 diabetes. And obviously there is a universal formula that obesity contributes greatly to the insulin resistance. Insulin resistance resistance decreases with the weight loss. Means whenever the insulin resistance will be, if overweight is there, then insulin resistance will be high, and as the weight loss will be started or decrease in the weight, insulin resistance will increase. Okay, so this is how insulin is decreasing with the weight. There is a direct relation. As the weight is decreased, insulin resistance will decrease. As the weight will increase, insulin resistance will increase. So in all sum of type 2 diabetes, either there will be two things, either will be the insulin resistance or there is something abnormal in the beta cells of Langerhans. Okay, now what are the risk factors? So obviously there are number of risk factors. Already we know that number 1 is overweight, obviously unhealthy eating or unhealthy lifestyle, and lack of physical activity or physical exercises, and family history also have a great role in the diabetes. If the parents is having, then there are chances of that kid or siblings is having, then other siblings will get the same. Now there are a number of factors which are modifiable and some are non-modifiable. So first we will see which are the non-modifiable. So number 1 is age, that will mostly happen after the 40 years of age, so that we cannot resistance. Race is, So Americans, Asian and Latino people are more prone for the development of this. That also cannot be changed. And family history. A parents or sibling with the same disease, then there are chances of that you will get. Okay, that also cannot be modifiable. But there are number of more factors which are modifiable, which include the number of things. Number one is any kind of heart and blood diseases, most commonly the hypertension, then low level of HDL cholesterol and high level of triglycerides, obesity obviously, in case of female, polycystic ovary syndromes and physical inactivity. These all are a risk factor which are modifiable or which can be controlled by the individuals. Now we will see what are the basic signs of this diabetes. So already we know that frequent urination, lack of energy, extreme thirst, and if you see these signals, ask to consult your medical personnel. In clinical presentation, majority of time patients are become asymptomatic, or if they are symptomatic, patient does not aware about that either of the polyuria, polydyspia or polyphagia or fatigue, especially in the urban setups where the lifestyle is so hard and everybody is running behind the work and their lifestyle, and because of that many times it is go undiagnosed, or they think that because of their busy schedules they are getting such kind of symptoms and they don't go for any kind of medical consulting or screening. But most commonly it is found whenever they go for a certain other or XYZ reasons for medical setups, and they are going for a glucose screening there, and they will be noticing that they also has developed a certain amount of diabetes. Suppose a patient has fall or a trauma and patient is one for some orthopedic consultation or orthopedic minor surgeries, and that time the wound is not healing or something, and they will go for a routine checkup or pre-operate, and they will able to know that that is an alarming sign that patient has developed a certain amount of diabetes mellitus. So these are the different factors which can influence you to have a diabetes type 2. Now there are other factors which is known as the environmental factor, genetic predispose, and whenever the functions of this liver which allowing the more of the glucose to be out in the bloodstream, then again it is affecting your level of sugar in the body. This is how the diabetes type 2 is referred in a different amount of potentiality. And now we will see that after this pathophysiology is known, then how it will be going for a different amount of diagnostic procedures. So basically there are four kind of plastic diagnostic procedure which is most commonly used to confirm the diagnosis, and there are number of criteria which we will see in detail. So in case of a diagnose, so basically there are four types. Number one is fasting plasma glucose level, then oral glucose tolerance test, then HB1AC, or that is called glycosylated hemoglobin measurement, and urine analysis. In urine analysis we will see the level of glucose in the urine and level of ketone bodies in the urine. This is the basically four kind of blood sampling or blood samples can be taken to confirm the diagnose or sugar level. Now fasting, the word itself says it's a fasting, so it's an early morning or when you have not taken any food more than 2 hours and you have taken the samples. Now because of the advancement in technology you can do it home or anywhere. It is a portable and in a few seconds you will get results also in fasting plasma glucose level or in the randomized blood sugar level. That is considered as fasting level. Next, mostly fasting will be done in the early morning or after the 2 hours of eating. Random one, it can be taken anytime whenever it is needed for any kind of prescription or any kind of medicine is to be altered. Next, oral glucose tolerance test. Here you will be taken a certain amount of 100 grams of sugar he has to take orally, and you have to take sample before that, and after the 2 hours of this taking the glucose, and you have to see that what are the changes has been happened in the taking the oral glucose directly and how much it is absorbed by the body.